within specific context. And plurilingual intercultural education involves the learner actively. This means that the student be active student in the classroom, develop their ability to reflect on what they are doing and assess themselves and study independently, and also make them aware of their language repertoire and its value. Okay, developing and implementing a curriculum planning is involved numerous activities, political piloting, implementation, evaluation, and then development and also planning. On several levels of the school system, from supra to the nano. Centralizing curriculum policy may be school, meso level, and teacher class is micro level always play a decisive part in the implementing the curriculum. Careful scrutiny of the various components of the component in curriculum planning and consideration of the relevance of each on the several language or organizational level, such as first, general aim, second, the specific aim, third, content, fourth, approach and activity, fifth, group and grouping and location, sixth, time, seven, resources, eight, role of the teacher, nine, cooperation, and the last, evaluation, might have to provide the clarity needed to improve the teaching learning process. The aim of plurilingual and intercultural education is to, its Council of the Europe is to recommending its member to start a planning or to start a response to increasingly the plural of their societies. And then plurilingual and intercultural competence is the ability to use the plural character of the linguistic and cultural resources to meet the communication, or they do the interact with other different backgrounds and different contexts. From the plurilingual competence refer to the repertoire of resources individual learner acquire in all the language they have known or they have learned. And then, meanwhile, the intercultural competence make it easier to understand otherness, makes the cognitive and affective the connection between new and past experience of otherness mediated between member two or more social group of otherness. And then the second point, there are the description of ways in which certain aspects of the plurilingual and intercultural education can be gradually brought into existing curricula. First, curriculum planning. Curriculum planning must respect a number of basic principles, analyzing the existing situation, particularly resources available in essential planning. And then, second, before specific aims are defined, so must be given choice of the language of schooling, to which explicit general aims are assigned to the language scope and the order in which they are introduced. And the third, crossover links between language and subject are the central element in plurilingual and intercultural education and depend on the specific aims defined at last partially on the basis of the identical categories of comparable activities. For example, strategies for understanding the right context, strategies for introducing the non-interactive oral text, and then reflective observation and analysis of linguistics or phenomena. And the fourth, teacher training. Teacher training is the crucial to doing all this. Finally, this it is desirable to identify the most strategic or accessible points of contact between teacher or different subjects, as well as point of professional interest. And then more assessment of learner achievements. It is necessary, but caution is needed in reach conclusion. Summative or certification assessment is possible using the stringent method, but most assessment will be formative and emphasize self-assessment. And then, evaluating implementation of the curriculum. And its effect on teaching method is a complex undertaking. Finally, this curriculum analysis of the result assessment must take account of factors outside the class and the critical curriculum effectiveness. The plurilingual and intercultural approach also involves the building curricula around from activity, which often the way to promote exchange between teacher and learner and between learner in implementing the CBI implementation. And the last point is there are elements for curriculum scenario geared to plurilingual and intercultural. Plurilingual and intercultural education depends on spreading specific aims and teaching content over the whole schooling process, thus promoting vertical and horizontal coherence. Curriculum scenario embody a prospective approach can be used to link general aims to curriculum features, which help to realize them and find the type of the curriculum best fit the requirements and possibilities of a given context. And then there are main points in this element. First, curriculum scenario. Curriculum scenario is one way of simulating overall and in broad the outline. Conceptual adjustment in school curriculum for each of the language taught and the relationship between them. Remember, is the scenario seek to link the choice of the aim for the school with a way of organizing the curriculum which is calculated to realize them. And then the second point, the experiential dimension of the curriculum. One principle embodied in the curriculum is implement the right to good education or the best education must feature in this scenario or in this scenario. And then for language learning culture to develop, learners must experience a range of different learning modes. And then mode of organization with specific context. Curriculum scenario must seek to implement the principles set and elaborated in the preceding chapter. But in this essay, I would like to explain about the curriculum or CBI implementation. And then finally, this curriculum scenario cannot ignore the critical question raised by the link between the language of the schooling and the regional language when the latter used as the instruction for other subjects. And the last, one of the common points in the treatment of the prototypical case perspective, that is a holistic vision. Holistic vision which extends reflection on the curriculum to language in learners, portfolios, language in their environment, and the language taught at the school. Okay, I come to my conclusion. So in conclusion, the plurilingual and intercultural education involves the learner actively. It means that the student be active student in the classroom, and then the student develop their ability to reflect on what they are doing, and then also assess themselves is study independently and make them aware of the language repertoire and its value. So the CBI implementation is very important in the education. Okay, that's all about my presentation today. I'm sorry for my single mistake. Thank you for your participation. Assalamualaikum.